Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have swatches for you from the brand Blush Lacquers. So today I have two separate collections that kind of go together. So the first one would be the Candy Heart Creams, and then the second would be the Double Rainbow Shimmers Collection. So these will be debuting April 6th at PolishCon, and then will be available April 12th on their site. So the creams will be $7 each, or $42 for the set of 6. And the shimmers will be $12 each, or $72 for the set of 6. So in the description box below, I will link the Blush site, I will link their Instagram page, and I will link my Instagram page where you can see more swatches of everything from these collections. We have 12 polishes to look at today, and let's go ahead and get started. So starting with the Candy Heart Cremes Collection, first up we have Be Mine, and this is a pastel bubblegum pink cream. So here's our first coat of Be Mine. So this has a really good formula. It's not too thick or too thin. It is definitely on the thinner side of the spectrum, but it's not hard to work with. You just have to work in a little bit thinner of coats. So this does cover pretty well on the first coat. It is a little bit patchy, so I am going to continue on with a second coat. So here's our second coat, and that does cover completely in 2 coats for me, but depending on your application, you may need to go in for a third coat. This one is also going to dry down nice and glossy all on its own. You will want a top coat just to keep your manicure lasting as long as possible. So there's 2 coats. Up next we have As If, and this is a pastel creamsicle peachy cream. So here's our first coat of As If. So once again, the formula on this is a little bit on the thinner side, not difficult to work with. You just have to work in a little bit thinner of coats to avoid any kind of running and pooling. The opacity to this one is again a little bit sheer here on this first coat. It is going to build up well though. So here's our second coat, and that does cover completely in 2 coats for me, though this one was borderline needing a third coat. All of these were pretty much 2 coats where you might need a third coat. So just bear that in mind. This one is also going to dry down nice and glossy all on its own. That top coat is just going to help protect your manicure and make it last a little longer. So there is 2 coats. Up next we have Angel, and this is a pastel banana yellow cream. So here's our first coat of Angel. And again, formula is a little bit thin, not difficult to work with if you work in thinner coats yourself. By the way, my cuticles throughout this video are just god-awful, and I apologize for you having to watch 12 minutes of that. As well as I feel like this is my last video with this gimpy patch on my ring finger, so you shouldn't have to see that again for a while either. So this is building up well here in 2 coats. It's not completely opaque though, so I am going to go in for a third coat. This is the only one of the creams that I do feel definitely needs that third coat. I do also feel though that after a few uses this one would probably be a 2 coat or no problem. So here's our third coat, and that does cover completely in 3 coats for me. Again, this one is also going to dry down nice and glossy all on its own. That top coat is going to help you though. It's going to keep your manicure lasting longer, and it is just going to kind of give it that plump gel-like finish to the entire look. So there's 3 coats. Up next we have You and Me, and this is a pastel turquoise cream. So here's our first coat of You and Me. This one covers pretty well on this first coat. Considering everything that we've looked at so far, this one definitely covers the best. Formula is the same though. It is a little bit on the thinner side, but again, it's not difficult to work with. You just have to work in a little bit thinner of coats. So here's our second coat, and that does cover completely in 2 coats for me, but again, depending on your application, your pickiness, your preferences, you may want to go in for a third coat of this one. But just like everything else in the Candy Heart Cremes collection, this will dry nice and glossy all on its own. You will want a top coat just for longevity, so there's 2 coats. Up next we have You and Me, and this is described as a pastel blue, but it definitely leans to me in the periwinkle direction. So here's our first coat of True Love. This is definitely not called You and Me because the last one was called You and Me. Formula on this is, once again, smooth, a little bit on the thinner side, not difficult to work with. Just be mindful that you need to work in a little bit thinner coats to avoid any kind of running and pulling. So here's our second coat, and that does cover completely in 2 coats for me. This one is borderline needing that 3rd coat for me, though. I was definitely tossed between doing a third or not, so I just decided on no. But again, this is going to dry nice and glossy all on its own. So there is 2 coats. And lastly, we have Kiss Me, and this is a pastel lilac cream. Here's our first coat of Kiss Me. So this one is pretty sheer here on this first coat. It's about the same coverage as the very first one we looked at, Be Mine. Formula on this though is very good. Again, it's not too thick or too thin. Just be mindful to work in a little bit thinner of coats. So here's our second coat, and that does cover completely in 2 coats for me. Once again, borderline needing a 3rd coat. I didn't feel like it was too bad though, especially since I was going to use these as a base color for the remaining toppers in this video. So there's 2 coats. And moving on to the Double Rainbow Shimmers Collection. First up we have Cotton Candy Rays, and this is described as a pastel bubblegum base with a blue to purple shifting shimmer and a sprinkling of gold flakes. Now for the sake of today's longer video as well as my editing life, I am showing them all as toppers in the video. I do have swatch photos of all 6 of these though on their own at the end as well. So here's Cotton Candy Rays over Be Mine. So the next 6 polishes all have the same formula, same finish, same everything. So everything that I say for one, I will be applying to all 6 because I don't have a lot of time to talk throughout all 6 of these. So there is 1 coat. So up next we have Creamsicle Clouds, and this is described as a pastel creamsicle peach base with a gold to orange to green shifting shimmer and a sprinkling of gold flakies. Here is 1 coat of Creamsicle Clouds over As If. So this has a smooth and easy to work with formula. It's not too thick or too thin. I do love all of these built up on their own as well as toppers. So you can really get use of them either way, and they don't have to go with the coordinating topper. They actually look really cool sometimes between the other colors. So there's 1 coat. Next up we have Morning Light, and this is described as a pastel creamy banana base with a green to red shifting shimmer and a sprinkling of gold flakies. So here's 1 coat of Morning Light over Angel, and I feel like this is the one that you can best spot the flakes. But again, formula is good. These are going to dry pretty glossy all on their own, which surprises me. Again, you'll want top coat just for longevity purposes though. So there is 1 coat. Next up we have Tidal Reflections, and this is described as a pastel turquoise base with an orange to gold to green shifting shimmer and a sprinkling of gold flakes. Here is 1 coat of Tidal Reflections over You and Me. So this one is a really beautiful shimmer throughout it, and nothing in these polishes are going to dry textured, and nothing in these are going to be difficult to remove. So there's 1 coat. Next up we have Silver Lining, and this is described as a pastel blue-gray base with a purple to pink to gold to green shifting shimmer and a sprinkling of gold flakies. Here's 1 coat of Silver Lining over True Love. So these, like I said, they're not going to dry textured or be difficult to remove because these are little flakes and shimmers, but those shimmers can make a little bit of a mess. So there is 1 coat. And then lastly for today we have Lilac Dawn, and this is described as a pastel muted lilac base with a blue to teal to green to purple shifting shimmer and a sprinkling of gold flakes. And here's 1 coat of Lilac Dawn over Kiss Me. So I probably should have said this in the beginning, that my swatch photos at the end of each polish that you're seeing, on the left hand side is the polish used as a topper, and then on the right hand side is 3 coats of each polish built up on its own. But there's 1 coat. So this was a doozy to pick favorites from, especially the creams. The creams were very difficult because they were really also good. So my first and obvious cream choice is the Angel. The pastel yellows, they they called to me. So this one was really good. It did take 3 coats to be completely opaque, which is to be expected. I feel like after a couple uses though, this would easily be a 2-coater. Angel is one of my favorites, and then the other one, since I limited myself to 2 of the creams, would be As If. You know, the orange-sickle-y kind of shade is really, really cute. It's really summer. It's really beautiful. So from the creams, As If and Angel are my favorites, and then from the shimmers, once again, I limited myself to 2, and once again, the yellow made it into the top. Morning Light is one of my favorites. I think this is so stunning, and it looks really, really beautiful over the yellow cream as a topper, but it also looks really, really pretty on its own. And then I really, really loved Tidal Reflections. I think that the shimmer that's in here standing out against the lighter blue base is so beautiful, and then contrasted with the gold flakies. It's something that I don't see often, ever. I don't know that I've ever seen, and I think it looks really, really good. So the shimmers, Tidal Reflections, and Morning Light. And guys, that is it. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of these collections. Let me know if you plan on picking any of them up, and let me know what your favorite was. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and I will talk to you again next time.